एडिट का ऑप्शन आता है। आ ही नहीं रहा है तो
हुआ क्या विजिबल?
मैं तो बोलती हूँ ऐसे ही लाइव आ जाओ आज, ओबीएस वाला बाद में देखेंगे, तुम अपने स्लाइड्स ऐसे ही बोल दो जल्दी, वो भी रोहित लेट अच्छा नहीं लग रहा है। खाली ऐसे ही फेस के साथ जो भी तुमने सोचा है वो तुम अपने आप से प्रेजेंट कर दो।
1 मिनट बस। ठीक है, आया तो सही लाइव। Yes, so hello everyone.
Done.
Yes, so hello everyone. Started?
फोन पे तो स्टार्ट है, आवाज कहाँ से आ रही है पता नहीं।
ठीक है, I'll end this.
ओके या
So hello everyone. My name is Rohit Gautam. Today, after a lot of requests, I have started to go live on YouTube, and for today we are going to discuss about top 5 tools in pen testing. So cybersecurity and pen testing is one of the future domain that we all love to be into, and we are into this particular domain of security professionals. So this presentation and talk is entirely based on my research. The tools that I'll be showing you is the tools that actually I like and prefer. According to my experience in the industry as well as on my personal level, I have chosen these tools to be the top 5. These tools are or this particular presentation is not biased on any results. Okay, this is totally my preference. Although there are many such tools out there which are awesome, and I cannot cover all of them into this presentation, so we are going to have many more talks in which I'm going to consider and talk about more tools which are specifically important for performing different and specific tasks. For example, if I say, let's say content discovery, so there are different tools into that category. There are more tools which lies in different categories for, let's say, GitHub Recon. There are more tools for proxy setup. There are more other tools which are used for automation, bash scripting. So we will cover all of those tools in our next sessions, but in this particular session I have tried to cover top 5 tools which I generally like the most. So yeah, my name is Rohit Gautam, and today we'll and I'll be telling you about this. So just a brief 30-second intro about me. I am a cybersecurity consultant and an ethical hacker. I've worked with a lot of top-notch banks in India into their ISG group and securing and making their security more better. Apart from this, I am a founder of a cybersecurity company called as Hacktify Cybersecurity in Mumbai, and I've been training students since last 5 years. I've also have a course on Udemy in the name of Bug Bounty, which has been liked by many of the students. So I'm very, very thankful and grateful to everyone in the community. So let's start this. The top tools that I consider in terms of pen testing is Nmap, the first one. It takes the first position in the bag. So Nmap stands for Network Mapper. Nmap is widely used by security researchers and penetration testers for doing a network audit. Nmap is one of by far the most important tool which cannot be sidelined, because Nmap is used for checking hosts which are live, for performing host discovery. Nmap is also used for doing great big subnet scans to identify which particular hosts are there live into your network. Nmap is also used for service version detection, for identifying which are the services which are running onto any particular target. Nmap is also used for OS detection. So for service detection, I remember that I scanned around 5000 IPs. After scanning those 5000 IPs and getting the services that are running onto that particular target, I saved all the output into the XML format. After saving the output in XML, I parsed all the output into CSV format. Later on, I was checking for which vulnerable IPs were running on a outdated vulnerable Apache server. So I was able to exploit those Apache servers based on a public exploit which was available on GitHub. What I also do with Nmap is when I scan a large number of host or bug bounty programs which are into scope, after scanning, because I have put a lot of time into this scanning with Nmap, I save those outputs in CSV files. So I have written a parser, a Python script, which basically takes the XML output and passes it into a CSV file, a comma separated value file, which is very easy to understand and is helpful for visual identification. Although this particular feature is not included by Nmap by default, it only converts the output in some of the major formats like XML, greppable format, normal format, script kiddie format. So I like saving the output in CSV because it is helpful for me for doing visual recon later on. So what I do is I save that into a CSV file format. Later on, when I hear about a new exploit that has been come or a 0-day which has been dropped, for example, there was a very dangerous vulnerability, Apache struts, which when it came live. So I just went back to my folder and I checked for the servers which were running on Apache struts, and I just got a neat output of these particular IPs running on Apache struts. I was able to exploit them. Or in case there is any other remote code execution which has come onto any particular server, so I can just go back to my search results, take this particular targets which are vulnerable to this particular exploit, and then easily do a exploit on them. So this is actually a easy win that we can do. So therefore Nmap is one of my favorite. I have kept this into. Next is OS detection. OS detection you can easily do through Nmap. Nmap has a very good fingerprinting database which have been submitted, which keeps on increasing and been submitted by the users as well for fingerprinting of the operating systems based on, is it a Linux operating system, is it a Mac OS, Apple TV, Windows, etc. This is also useful before attacking a target. So let's say you have a target and you start, let's say you want to do a L5 onto that. Okay, so you blindly do not start sending payloads. Let's say you keep on sending payloads for cat etc passwd, or you want to see the passwd file. What if the server is running on a Windows host? That particular payload will never work. So for that you need to first identify the operating system that is running. So in that case you will understand, okay, this is the Windows based operating system and I need to fetch the cboot ini file to increase the severity or to show the impact. Also Nmap is used for recon. So I have listed down a couple of ways through which I can use Nmap for doing my recon. One of the ways identifying are there any WAF? There are Nmap scripting engine scripts into the awesome database of Nmap, from where I can identify if there are WAF which are running onto a particular server. Scripts like WAF detect and WAF fingerprint, you can use those. Also Nmap has a very massive scripting engine which contains more than 400 or 500 scripts for each category. There are different Nmap scripting engine categories like intrusive scan, DDoS scan, malware scan, default scan. So you can utilize all those scans and categories for identifying vulnerabilities onto targets. Nmap also includes NAC scripts for a web exploitation, wherein you can just attack the web protocols and web service. Nmap also has like XSS, SQLi, WordPress enumeration, etc. Nmap also has NAC scripting engine for attacking the protocols like FTP, SSH, NTP, Telnet, etc. for different content management systems like Drupal, WordPress, etc. Nmap also has a scripting engine, the scripts for attacking databases like MySQL, etc. So Nmap is quite underrated but a very powerful tool that we can utilize for performing our pen testing. Nmap also gives the powerful port knocking feature, wherein we can identify the port status, are they open, filtered, closed, and also we can do port knocking, wherein we can knock the ports and we can make them alive and find vulnerabilities thereafter. So this was about Nmap. I have also launched a course on Nmap, wherein I have tried to cover most of the things from basics, how a network works, to the exploitation of Nmap. So in case you want to see that, you can also go for the course that I have recently launched on Udemy. It has been up there and it is under 97% discount. You can also go for there, and I hope you may like that too. Next tool that I have kept into this particular talk is BobSuit. BobSuit is a Swiss Army knife, and you cannot live without BobSuit. If you are into pen testing, I totally love this software, and you should know how to use this. If you're not using BobSuit into your pen testing methodology or workflow, then you may be missing out some of the major bugs. So for those of people who are using Zap is also a good alternative to BobSuit, but I really like the extenders or the B apps that BobSuit has, which comparatively I think is quite an advantage over Zap. So Burp is a proxy tool. So basically, proxy is something which sits between your computer and your client as well as the server, and in the middle you can intercept those requests, whatever the request is going from your computer to the server and whatever the response is coming from the server to you. You can sit in between in the real time, do interception. You can modify the request also if you want, and you can play with the request responses. Based on this, you can also break the logic many times. You can send request based on whatever you like. Also, you can fire up a lot of requests. You can also perform no rate limit attacks, or you can also do race conditions. So Burp is a very awesome tool. There is a lot of things that I cannot cover into this discussion talk on BobSuit, but we can surely have a session on just on BobSuit, where we can cover each and every section of BobSuit. BobSuit is helpful for interception, as I already said. It also has an amazing feature of spider. Spider is basically crawling a target. It crawls each and every link and endpoints, and it tries to find out any web forms are there or any different HTTP pages are there. So it is helpful for spidering so that your scope increases for your target. The next thing is decoder. So it decodes if there are any encoded values going into your request. For example, if a request contains a base 64 input, you can just send it to decoder, and decoder will decode it for you. And also decoder can encode the values for you, so you can use that. It is very helpful feature. Next is the intruder. Intruder is used for attacking purposes. There are different types of attack types that you can use into the intruder tab. It is very much useful if you want to perform brute forcing, if you want to use for no rate limit attacks, or send simultaneous request very fast to the target. There are different types of attack types into this, which are very helpful, which we can later see and break down into a dedicated video for BobSuit. Next is my favorite, is the extenders. So extenders actually, as the name suggests, extends the power of BobSuit. So extenders, most of the extenders are written by the BobSuit community, as well as a lot of security researchers. They have written their own extenders, and it increases the power of BobSuit. Most of the extenders are for each attack type, and there are some of my favorite extenders as well, which I always use when I am onto a target. So this is one of the major feature which misses in Zap proxy, and there is a lot more about BobSuit. As I said, we cannot cover in this short video. Next is, this is actually not a tool but a methodology, or you can say a technique which I love to do onto targets while I'm doing a pen testing, which is Google Docs. So Google Docs gives you juicy information. It is very, very useful if you're not doing performing Google Docking properly. You may tend to miss out some of the important bugs onto your target. There are a lot of reports in which users have, just by Google Docking, have found out critical vulnerabilities onto targets. If I recall, there was a report on HackerOne which was submitted by a security researcher, wherein there was this payment invoices numbers were getting indexed by Google. So there was a misconfiguration in the robots.txt file, wherein this sensitive details were getting indexed by these crawlers of Google, and a security researcher who just gave a particular Google Doc query with the right operator was able to retrieve all that sensitive information from those PayPal servers, and this was quickly acknowledged, and also this was quickly patched with a good bounty. There are many such reports. One of the famous reports which I have seen is on HackerOne for Snapchat. So the security researcher was paid a bounty of 15,000 US dollars, wherein there was a there was a token which was indexed on GitHub. So that token was actually very, very sensitive token for one of their logins of some of the admin account, if I can recall it correctly. So that particular token was indexed in the GitHub, and he was just able to find that token, although he did not use that token, or the security researcher was not even aware how to use that token. He simply reported, and it was very good that Snapchat quickly acknowledged and said that this token was one of the important token for one of the logins of their account. So that particular report was acknowledged with quite a huge bounty. That's why Google Docs is important. There is one more report that I can recall for Google Docs is one of the security researchers from India. I am really sorry, I cannot recall his name. He submitted a bug to Google in which he was able to find out a parameter. That parameter was referrer ID. The report was for taste.google.com. We generally refer it to as Google Pay. He was able to find out a parameter that was referrer ID, and in the referrer ID parameter he saw that whatever value he gave just got reflected onto that particular page. He quickly gave a XSS payload into the input, and to his surprise he was able to see that there was a XSS line there. So he was also given a very good bounty by Google. So Google Docs, yes, very, very important for finding out juicy information, hidden endpoints, and hidden subdomains sometime. As you can see over here on the right, I have shown you some of the operators like in title to search a page title. For example, in title admin login, all in title. Yes, I can recall one more report. It was submitted to Hotstar. So there was a subdomain, basically vertical correlation domain, which was found out by a security researcher again from India, wherein he was able to based on this Google Docs, he was able to find out a domain which started something like something admin int login.hotstar.com. So he was able to find that particular subdomain. He went there. There was authentication, said username and password. He just tried with the default credentials, that was username admin, password admin, and boom, he was logged into that account. So again, he was given a bounty based on the work that he performed. So you can see there are many operators which you can find on the right hand side. Also the GHDB, which is the Google hacking database, has massive amount of Google Doc queries that you can use for finding out sensitive information, hidden endpoints, vulnerable servers, and a lot more. So I recommend going on GHDB, that is Google hacking database, and you may find out a lot of Google Docs that you can utilize for sure. Okay, the next tool that I have kept into this particular presentation is DIR search. So DIR search is one of the tools that I really like using. Someone messaged me, top tools list is there, left hand side, try to fill the screen. I think the screen is not properly visible. Just give me a second. Let me just add this display capture. Let me just add this. Yep. Really sorry about this. I think it should be visible now. Okay, so now let's continue and yes. So the next top tools that I have added is a dir search, which is directory search, which I really like using. Dir search stands for directory search, and I have recently got some good sensitive data from many websites. So I really like using this tool, and I have added this. So dir search basically works on brute forcing the directories. So it brute forces the directories, and after brute forcing, it finds out sensitive information for you. So basically you can brute force a directory, and you may find out etc passwd or some type of source code or backup files onto that particular server. The best thing about directory search is you can also, now the best screen about directory search is that you can also give extensions. You can also give extensions over there, and extensions like php, aspx, or let's say you can give extension like .env file, which will give you the environment a variable file, or you can also give extension like .back, which will give you backup files. Okay, which will give you backup files. You can also use extensions like backup, env, different extensions like .zip. Sometimes developers do a mistake wherein they just zip all their source code, so you can directly just get the whole of source code onto your computer. Okay. Sometimes dir search is also helpful in brute forcing the pages, wherein I have shown here. For example, if you're brute forcing any website, let's say example.com. So when you're brute forcing, /admin directory is not particularly available for you to access, and you get a 403, which is forbidden. But if you put admin into your particular target when you're brute forcing, you keep admin into your target. Okay, and you start brute forcing from /admin, and you may find out that add users.php is available, and you may get a 200. Okay, so this technique, I have found out by this technique many of the vulnerable programs wherein the admin directory is authenticated, but the directory above admin is not authenticated above admin, for let's say add users.php or phpMyAdmin, something like that. Okay, so that's why I have kept dir search. It is very, very useful for brute forcing, although there are other tools as well. I have used different tools for directory brute forcing like Nuclei, but I really like dir search. The next is content discovery tools, which I have added over here. So this is not a single tool, there are multiple tools which are made by Project Discovery. Okay, I really like the work Project Discovery team is doing for giving some such awesome tools like Nuclei. There are many such tools which are very, very awesome for the community. So I love using Project Discovery tools. I love using Subfinder, which is used for subdomain enumeration, DNS Probe to see the CNAMEs of any particular target, HTTPS is used for finding out the correct HTTPS and the status code of any particular target. I also like using URL probe. URL probe version 2 is also out there. I like using that too. And there are a lot of awesome tools by Project Discovery onto their GitHub page, which I really like using for content discovery. The next is Shodan, Censys, and Grey Noise. So basically the internet connected search engines, which I preferably use into my pen testing. So these are the search engines where all the devices throughout the world are connected on this particular Shodan, Censys, Grey Noise search engines. It is used for doing information gathering. You can always find servers which are exposed. You can also always find RDPs which are exposed. They're also used for identifying device IP addresses. You can search IP addresses. You can search for web camera, satellite images, CCTV cameras. You can search based on web server details. You can also perform banner grabbing onto this particular any target. So let's say I have a target which is www.ICICI bank. So I want to do user enumeration, banner grabbing, web server details, what are the targets associated with them, what are the ports which are open. I can find all that information from these type of search engines. I can also find details of protocols like SSH, FTP, RDP. I can also find if there are some exposed RDP, and I can try to attack them based on the Bluekeep vulnerability. There are many such vulnerabilities, open source GitHub exploits available which you can directly exploit. I've also added some of the filters that you can use while you are onto this particular targets. So you can use filters like city to find devices in a particular city, country, geolocation, host name, net, OS, port, before, after, and there are a lot of filters that Shodan, Censys, and Grey Noise has. I have just listed a less number of filters, but yes, there are a lot of filters in there, and we can have dedicated sessions on using Shodan, Censys for your penetration testing and enumeration. The next one is GitHub Recon. I really like doing GitHub Recon because these are some of the quick and easy wins that you can do. So GitHub is an awesome place to save your code, and all the developers, they love saving their code on GitHub. So there are some of the tools wherein we can identify if some sensitive information is being left out by these devs, okay, on GitHub. So most of the researchers, they have been doing GitHub Recon. I have seen a lot of reports on HackerOne and Bugcrowd, as well as the social media platforms like Twitter and LinkedIn, where people are posting about how they are able to find sensitive details. These sensitive details can directly be found out by these tools, which are, I have listed some of them, like GitRob, GitHound, Get All Secrets, or the manual way. I love using the manual way because in manual way you're able to use a Google Doc, and based on those Google Docs you may find out some of the sensitive information. Sometimes this sensitive information is in the form of username, password, credentials, API keys, Docker credentials. Also sometimes these are into base 64 encoded values. So you can also find out those base 64 encoded values of credentials, which is the username, password, which can be useful and which holds a lot of severity. Also for GitHub Recon, you may find out private IP addresses which are very useful, and through those private IPs you can go and connect to private endpoints, which are some of the endpoints which are only for the internal employees, but they are exposed to the WAN to the public network just for their internal ease. So this has been one of the things that I've been finding out a lot on GitHub. When I'm doing recon, I find private endpoints which are only made for the internal employees, but for their ease they expose it to the WAN, which are generally not tested or secured. From there we can find vulnerabilities onto those particular endpoints, those particular servers, and also we can do take the complete access of that particular server Through that server, we can identify which other applications are hosted onto that particular server and attack other applications as well, and also get hold of the internal network through which you can do a lot of things like port scanning, identifying whatever ports are running, vulnerable services, etc, etc. So GitHub Recon, yes, there is no specific one tool. There are a couple of tools which I have listed over here. There are many other tools out there which are very awesome, but I generally like using these tools. Okay, so after discussing about the top 5 tools for pen testing and hunting, this is one of the things that I thought of adding into this particular session, because I see as this is a very basic startup, a Kickstarter guide towards pen testing cybersecurity journey. First thing that I would like to add is the breakdown of a HTTP request. So you will be seeing HTTP request everywhere when you are doing your pen testing. So if you don't understand a HTTP request, then you are not going to find bugs, or at least you are not going to understand what actually is happening. So you should understand a HTTP request first thoroughly. So I have kept the breakdown of HTTP request. So you can just see on the screen how a HTTP request looks like. Whenever you're using BobSuit or into the browser also, you may see a HTTP request something like this, and you should understand what it is saying to you. So you can see there is a HTTP request from target that I have chosen over here. Let's understand this. So you can see the get. What is get? Get is HTTP verb. We also call it as methods. There are different types of methods that we are going to just discuss. Like get, there are post, options, trace, head, etc. And you can see HTTP 1.1, it is the version of HTTP. Latest version is 2. HTTP 1.1 and 2 has a very big difference. There is a parallel connections which are opened in one single connection request, which is simultaneous parallel connections can be shared and data can be transferred in only one particular connection. So get is HTTP verb, HTTP methods. Next is the host. That is the host header. And if you try to modify the host from YouTube to, let's say, bing.com, then you may redirect to bing.com. We see a lot of vulnerabilities which arises because of host header, which are generally falls under open redirect attacks. They also arise because of this, and they fall under this category of open redirect, wherein the attacker is able to change the host and it redirects to the new host into the response, and it basically redirects the victim to the new location. The location header is set into the particular response, which is why host header arises. The next is the user agent. The user agent says the client software details. As you can see, Mozilla, Macintosh, Firefox version 77.0. See, these are the client software details which are taken by the server. Next is the accept, which says text HTML application, XML application, XML. So this is, we are expecting a TXT, HTML or XML in the response from the target server. So we are requesting the type of the response that is going to come, which is either TXT, HTML or XML. Next is the accept language. Accept language means a request for a specific language. As you can see, it is written EN-US, which is English US, comma English, comma Q equals to 0.5. So that Q is quality factor. Okay, so quality factor is something which you can say that we are requesting the server for the quality factor. It lies from 0 to 1. For example, let's take this example only. English US, the first in the priority, next is the English. Okay, so I want to first get the language from the server in English, that should be US English. Okay, if it is not available, then show any type of English. Let's say British English. The quality factor should be 0.5, 50%. Okay. In the above example, in the accept, you can see text HTML application, XHTML plus XML application slash XML. Then the quality factor Q is given as 0.9. Okay, so apart from this, anything that you can send it with the less priority. From first, it should give text HTML application and so on, then it can give other things. Okay, After that you see image slash web web p. Okay, and it is saying if you're not able to serve any of these things, then give anything. So it is denoted by star slash star, and the quality factor is given as 0.8. Okay, the next one is accept encoding. So how content are encoded. So basically it is gzip and deflate, how the content is going to get encoded when it is transferring from the server. Next is the connection keep alive. It means this connection is going to be reused for communication. Next are the cookies. So what are cookies? Cookies are sweet and they contain a lot of sensitive information. So cookies contain the chunks of data, as you can see over here. In this particular request, I can see CFDUID, which is Cloudflare user ID. And there are so many other cookies wherein I can also see UID, which is user ID, SID, which is maybe server ID. Okay, so these types of cookies are sent into the cookie header, and the cookie header, right? Okay, the next one is upgrade insecure request 1. What is this? The server is saying the server can redirect to a secure version of the site. So let's say we are getting the response or the response page from the server in an insecure manner, then we are saying please upgrade insecure request if you can. The server has to redirect this to a secure version of the website if it is available. The next one is the vary header. Vary header is similar like the previous one, in which we are going to say upgrade insecure request. So if the page is sending us an insecure request, then we will say, okay, please send us a secure version of this if you has. Okay, the last one is the cache control. Cache control max age 0 means client can cache a resource and must revalidate each time before using it. So this basically means we can cache the body of the particular request that are coming from the server, but we cannot cache the sensitive information like cookies. Those cookies need to be revalidated again. Okay, so if the cookies are there into your particular browser, then they will not be cached. They need to be revalidated again whenever you are trying to request for a resource. That is why cache control has been added as a header. Okay, so let's understand what is a host into your header. As we saw on the left hand side, you can see a request is going wherein the host is set it as bing.com. So this particular host is known as this particular header is known as host header. So host defines which website the request is to be made to. In this case, the request will send to the bing.com. If this was changed to google.com, the request would go to Google. Next one is the method. As you can see, in this particular request, the method that has been used is a get method. As you can see, get retrieves the data. There is another method called as post, which creates the data or sends data to the particular web server. Put is again used to replace the data. It can also save the data into any database or server. Delete is used for deleting data. Options to see the verbs or the methods which are supported by the particular target. Head is again like get, which can be used to particular server. Next is the path. In the path, you can see over here after the get request slash something. So that can be a directory or a HTML page. Okay, so in the above slash search on the first line is the path. In this case, get slash search says please retrieve the results of a search for me. As I already said, it can be a directory or it can be a HTML page as well. Next is the query. Get search question mark q equals to test. So this is particular a query. So q equals to test is a query where q is the parameter and test is the value of that particular parameter. Remember, there can be multiple parameters as well into your search result. Okay, always remember this particular queries are generally very useful for us for attacking while we are doing our pen testing, because we mostly choose these parameters for attacking, wherein we may try to put our input into this parameters if it is getting reflected. So let's say we can also do XSS into there. We can also use these particular parameters or queries for SQL, LFI, RFI, and different types of attacks. Okay, so understanding these parameters and query is very important into any request that you are sending into your pen testing project. The next one is the request. As you can see, the request body. A request body is something which goes with your request. As you can see in here, I can see in the body something is going, which is a message parameter, which is setting up a value, which is I love you all, we are a community. Okay, so in this particular request, what is the body? This is the body which goes after all the headers. Okay, so a body has been set after all the headers. Next is the response. The response also contains a body and again a lot of headers. Okay, so the response body would contain something like this after the headers, which is sweet, we love the community. Okay, so this part is considered as your header into your particular response. Okay, so thank you for listening to me. I hope you are able to understand or get at least some useful insights on some of the tools that we use for pen testing and bug bounty in cybersecurity, as well as I was able to just demonstrate a simple breakdown of a HTTP request. There is a lot more that we are going to discuss in our upcoming webinars, upcoming talks like this when I'll be coming on YouTube live. We also have planned for a lot of particular talks on bug bounty hunting. We have also planned for how you can make your bug bounty hunting approach and methodology good. We also planned for recon, which is very, very important for every one of us. We know the importance of recon, so we will be taking up a session on recon very soon for bug bounty hunting tips, pen testing tips on bug bounty tips on different attacks. We'll also be taking session on OWASP. How can you kickstart and learn about OWASP? We'll be taking sessions on BobSuit, Linux, and different tools. Yeah, so basically there is a lot of there into a bucket list that we want to start taking on. So this was our first live video, and I hope you got some useful insights and are able to learn something from this particular live session. So it is the time to take the questions now. So let us quickly take the questions and see what are the doubts that you guys have, so we can solve those doubts quickly. So let's see some of the doubts that we have. Okay, so there are a lot of messages going on. So any time spot for those webinars, we have decided for coming at least twice online, twice a week. Okay, so we'll be coming twice or thrice. Okay, so next time we are deciding, you're not yet decided, but we'll update every one of you shortly when we'll be coming online. Okay, the links will be shared on LinkedIn as well as on Twitter and other handles, so you guys can come to know. The best way would be subscribers, and you'll get an alert then at any time when we are coming online. Stay tuned guys, because next we are going to talk about recon. One of the most important thing that I have got a lot of requests from everyone, and I'll be doing some serious recon with every one of you. And you will love, especially I will share my tips, bug bounty tips, my methodologies, my mind maps, and we'll do some serious level of god mode recon, in which you will learn how you can implement that and enhance your bug bounty skills. Please save this session. This session is getting recorded and it will be uploaded automatically onto YouTube. Next is please tell me how I earn bug bounties. So this question is asked by Asif. So we will be taking up a session on purely on bug bounties. Okay, most of the sessions will be on bug bounties only. We will start with the psychology, the rules, top 10 rules, and how you can start from basics to advanced exploitation level. Also we will learn automation for bug bounty hunting. Next is how to use cookies for bug. So this question is I think it is incomplete question. So rather this question should be how can we attack on cookies for doing bug bounties. So there are many attacks like session hijacking, session fixation, or wherein we can attack those cookies So we'll be taking up those into the next live sessions when we come on, when we start talking about bug bounties. Any fixed time for a week for a Rohit session? So we do not have a fixed ETA for that, but mostly we'll be doing it the same time at around 9 o'clock, because we have got a lot of requests from students from India and outside from India as well. So mostly it will be at night 9 or 10 only, but dates are not decided. We will update you very soon. One more question: do I need to know web developing languages to start bug bounty hunting? This question is asked by Karthik. So a very good question. So in case you are a web developer, then it is 100% a plus point. Okay, that if you know web development, that will be very useful in understanding, and that will also be useful for automation. Okay, but in case you are not a web developer and you have just heard about cybersecurity and you are so much interested about bug bounties, pen testing, and you do not know about anything about development languages, no need to worry. It is totally fine if you do not know web development languages, but there is a prerequisite. Although you need to understand that how this works. Okay, so you need to know about different languages. Okay, you don't need to learn that much that you need to code a full website based on that particular language, but you should know actually how it works. If you are able to see that particular code, you should able to social engineer or decode that code, that how it is working. And if you ask me, I would suggest if you can go with Python. Python is one of the awesome language for now, in which you can start coding. It will also be very useful for automation. We will be learning in our next live session how you can code in Python and Bash for automation of bug bounties as well. You should also know JavaScript, because it will be helpful in XSS attacks. You should also know MySQL, that will be helpful for SQL injection based attacks. Okay, so next question is any plans for launching the next Udemy course after Nmap? So Gaurav has asked this question. Next course that we are running is on Recon. We have already made half of it, so next course will be coming for Recon, and I hope that you will love that course, because I have been putting a lot of efforts in bringing up that course for every one of you. So yeah, next course will be on Recon, the complete guide. So next question is, does data loss prevention come under cybersecurity? Of course, data loss prevention comes under cybersecurity. There are specific tools for DLP. There are many such tools which are made by many different vendors like McAfee, Symantec for DLP, and companies, they introduce and use these tools into their organizations. There also SOC teams, the security operations center teams, handles these types of tools into any organization. There are many different types of tools for DLP. Some of the open source tools which I can suggest you is, you can use Nagios, which will just monitor your whole network, whatever is happening into other different computers. There are different tools like Snot, which is a IDS IPS, which will also monitor, which will act as a firewall for your particular network. Although there are many paid such tools and services out there which you can also go for. So the next question, Shabir, before starting the attack on target, what will be your first attempt before we proceed? Information gathering about the target by using Google Docs. So yes, Shabir, there is something called as information gathering and recon, which should be most powerful before you come onto any target. This is what I'm saying, because your technical knowledge is very helpful in finding out a bug, but if you're not doing the right recon, then you are not doing your right bug bounty hunting or pen testing, because you may tend to miss some of the critical bugs which are lying under hidden. Because most of the security researchers, they take a domain, let's say Uber, so they take up the domain uber.com, start hunting on that. But guys, uber.com has been hunted by many security researchers from many years. So they have obviously fixed many of the low hanging fruits out there. I'm not saying you won't be able to find out bugs on Uber, but it will be a little bit difficult. So what you can do is you go for those particular subdomains wherein they have not yet touched by anyone, or there are security flaws underlying. A very good report was a Tesla. There was a remote code execution which was attacked some months ago on Tesla on a subdomain which a researcher found using vertical correlation. So yes, information gathering is very important, and you will find very good bugs in information gatherings. Okay, we'll be covering information gathering and recon in our upcoming live sessions. Next question is, sir, any automated URL scanning tools for XSS? Okay, so first of all, I personally do not recommend any XSS scanning tool for this particular vulnerability, because XSS is something which you should learn how to do it manually. You should learn how balancing works, HTML, escaping, context breaking, polyglots. Okay, so that you will learn how actually it is working. And if you try to use XSS automated tools, there are high chances that those websites, the WAF will automatically block you, and you will not be able to do the manual version also. So I do not recommend manual, but yes, you can also do this for mass hunting of websites on the internet, because there are, if you just want to earn a lot by bug bounties, then you can just start your mass scanning of the internet, all the websites, and you will be able to find out that yes, there are many automated tools out right there. But in the next sessions, I will teach you how you can make your own automated tools. The best way, the best approach that I like personally, apart from all the tools, there are many tools. The best way and approach I like is taking that particular domains or the endpoints from a wayback URL. So take all the endpoints from the wayback archive. After taking from them, take all the endpoints, take all the parameters from those endpoints. After taking those parameters, there are very good tools by Tom Nom Nom. Take those particular parameters, URLs, and keep on replacing. There are many such tools like QS replace and a lot more, wherein you can just replace those parameters and values by your own XSS payloads, and you'll be able to find good XSS. This is an approach which I like the most, and I will be covering the whole approach from taking a particular target from wayback archive, taking all those domains, parsing all the domains, and making your own XSS automated tool. Just not limited to XSS, you can do it for everything: open redirect, SSRF, SQL, etc. So we'll be covering this into the live session next time. Okay, so next, there are a lot of questions. Sir, how many months it takes to get comfortable in bug bounty? Okay, so there is no specific timeline for getting comfortable or expert in bug bounty. Why? Because it is all about how much time you devote in doing bug bounty, how much curious you are. Okay, so there is no specific timeline. You can get really very good and expert in depth in around 1 month, or you may learn the concepts in 6 months also. So there is no specific timeline, but yes, if you want to start from today itself, if you are new to this is the right time that you can start, and you can gather a lot of knowledge and information. There is pretty good information out there onto the internet. You can read blogs. HackerOne Hacktivity is very good. Bugcrowd blogs are really very good. Okay, so yes, if you start from day one, from today, it will not take much time for you to get good into this. Also, we have also started this series wherein we will be discussing whatever the knowledge to the extent we have to contribute to the community. Okay, so let us see, there are more questions. From where to start in bug bounty? Okay, so in case you are not aware about what actually is bug bounties, then I would recommend just first learn about OWASP. OWASP is the fundamental thing that you should. There is one more question: what are the prerequisites to get started in bug bounty? So both the questions are almost same. So the first prerequisite, that if you're not into cybersecurity and you do not know what is pen testing, just learn about OWASP. owasp.org. Go onto that particular website and you will know about OWASP. OWASP is very, very important. Consider it as our Bible, because all the bugs related to web application are listed over there. You need to understand those vulnerabilities. There are also examples given over here on OWASP website. You can read about those examples and you can get a better understanding of OWASP from that particular website. After understanding what are the types of bug and the scope, you can directly go on doing hands-on, because without hands-on you will not be able to do bug bounties. It is very important. You have to make your hands dirty. So where to start from? I would personally recommend do not jump onto live websites, because that is what I think may demotivate you if you're not able to find the vulnerabilities live on the live websites. So you can start with there are so many demo applications where you can start with, like OWASP Broken Apps is a very good resource where you can start practicing. Okay, a DVWA, damn vulnerable web application, BWAP, these are the application. There are a lot of applications like this. Okay, you can start Google GUI, you can start with goat, open goat. You can start with, there are a lot of resources like this, damn vulnerable WordPress application. Okay, so I will recommend start with them first. Practice all the vulnerabilities on DVWA, BWAP and other such resources, open resources, and then after you have been understood that how you can perform a bug, how you can find a vulnerability, exploit it, then you can just go to live applications. Okay, in live applications also I will not recommend directly jumping on this bug bounty hunting platforms like Bugcrowd and HackerOne, because they are already captured by the crowd. There are good researchers which have already found many good vulnerabilities. So I would recommend go for RVDP programs. Okay, I seriously recommend this because I have seen many of my students also, they are doing very good in RVDP programs. They have found out many vulnerabilities. Okay, so it is one of the best way for testing, and it is a very good playground where you can test the vulnerabilities that you have been learning all the while. Okay, so RVDP stands for Responsible Vulnerability Disclosure Private Programs. You can go on RVDP programs. How to find RVDP programs? There are Google Docs. Okay, I have listed the Google Docs on my GitHub page, which my GitHub handle is Shifa123. You can just go on Shifa123 and you can find out about Google Docs. You can use those bug bounty docs and you can identify any target which has a bug bounty program, and then you can start hunting. Although I will be sharing how to do this, how to find a program into the upcoming next live sessions. One more question is, have you any idea for, there is a photo in a website which is uploaded by developer and that has a EXIF vulnerability, so where can be reported? Okay, so for EXIF vulnerabilities, it falls under sensitive data exposure. These types of vulnerabilities can be reported to the developers, although they have very limited scope. They are considered as low-hanging vulnerabilities. Only Bugcrowd accepts EXIF, mostly it goes under P3. If there is sensitive information like a geolocation, your camera details like that, you can always report these types of vulnerabilities to the developer or to the program if they are having a bug bounty program. Okay. Okay, sir, Android application pen testing is a question which has been asked. Yes, so for Android application pen testing also, there is you can start with Android application pen testing. There is again a OWASP for mobile. Okay, you can read about that. I would recommend going to start with a DIVA, which is damn insecure vulnerable Android application. Okay, so you can start with DIVA and you can learn about top 10 vulnerabilities like insecure storage, etc, etc. Okay, we will also be taking a session on connecting or setup of your devices of Android. Okay, how can you set up your device for testing, or with BobSuit, how can you test for an application? The most important thing that I see is most of the researchers or most of the people who are just starting in mobile application pen testing are not able to set up their lab. So they are not able to set up their devices with their proxy tools like BobSuit, or they are not able to bypass the SSL pinning. Okay, I have seen most of the people are not able to bypass SSL pinning. So I'll be covering how you can bypass SSL pinning automated with the help of Frida, and there are other tools as well. And also we will see how you can bypass SSL pinning manually by modifying the certificate. Okay, RVDP is not a government website. NCIPC is the website, and RVDP is the contact email where bugs can be reported. Yes, so RVDP stands for Responsible Vulnerability Disclosure Program. You can also report bugs. If you want to report bugs to Indian government, you can report that to NCIIPC, National Critical IT Infrastructure Protection Center. The email is rvdp@nciipc.gov.in. Very well explained. Shweta Dash is saying, very well explained. Please do come with a session on BobSuit explaining about all its feature. Yes, of course, we will be taking up a session on BobSuit as well, wherein we will learn about each of its tab. Also, I will tell you guys how we can use the extenders and the B apps. Hello sir, for starting bug bounty hunting, which bug should I choose first? A very good question. Okay, so I would recommend learn OWASP first, learn about all the vulnerabilities, but become a master of a specific type of vulnerability. This is, I'm saying based on my personal experience, you should first pick up some vulnerabilities, become the master of that, although you should know about all the vulnerabilities. If you are going for a penetration testing role, you should able to find all other vulnerabilities, but you should be very good in a specific vulnerability. So for your specific question, I would recommend personally, okay, this is my opinion, okay, you can go with XSS. I really like finding XSS. Why? Because all the websites in this world work on JavaScript. Okay, so all the websites on this world work on JavaScript there, so you can find vulnerabilities like XSS in most of the website, because it is one of the most dominant vulnerability which is found everywhere. So I would recommend XSS first, then you can go for other vulnerabilities like no rate limiting or no rate limit, like XSS, and you can also go for SQL injection as well. But these three vulnerabilities I would recommend going with first. Can you make a Udemy course for OWASP for beginners? Okay, so yes, of course, this is a very good idea. Udemy course for OWASP for beginners. We will be taking up this course as well. Thank you for this suggestion. We will be taking up this course for sure for OWASP for beginners. It's a very good idea. I have noted down this, and we'll make this course. But although Batista has asked this question, I have already a course running up on bug bounty hunting where I have just given a brief. There is a section of OWASP in which section I have tried to explain why the vulnerability arises, what happens through that vulnerability, how can you, what is the severity, and how can you mitigate that. So you can just refer to that bug bounty course in which I have explained all the top 10 bugs of OWASP. There is a section on OWASP. Any tips for a subdomain takeover? Okay, so subdomain takeover are great vulnerability which you can find everywhere. Recently we found out many subdomain takeovers on S3 buckets, that was AWS environment. On it was SendGrid. Yes, on SendGrid we are able to find many subdomain takeovers. So for doing subdomain takeover, the tips that I would recommend is, what you can do is you can run a particular scanner on many of the subdomains. Okay, the best thing that I would like to recommend for subdomain takeovers is, first thing is to identify the right subdomain that you want to take over. Okay, if you just are trying to go onto the first subdomain, that is, let's say uber.com, obviously that is not going to be vulnerable. Okay, so how to identify the subdomains is the main question for doing subdomain takeovers. The best method that I would recommend is Recon is very good for doing subdomain takeovers. How? So let me just explain. For example, what you can do is you can do reverse reverse whois. So let's let's take an example of facebook.com. Okay, so facebook.com, if I perform whois, then I will come to know about that who facebook.com in the whois results is registered by facebook.com registrar, or I may get an email address which is domain@facebook.com. I will take that particular domain name, okay, or the registrar's name or email address. I will go onto a reverse whois website like Hooksy, and there are many Voxy, and there are many other tools like tools xmlapi.com. I have written these tools into a subdomain enumeration guide that I have written, okay. And then what I will do is I will do a reverse whois lookup, and after that I will get a huge list of acquisitions of that particular target, that is facebook.com. okay, so I will get, there are n number of domains which are registered by this same registrar's name. Okay, so after taking all those subdomains from there, so there are around more than 10,000 domains that I found out for Facebook and other targets. After taking all those domains, I will just take those domains, run a sort. After sorting, I will remove the duplicates. After removing the duplicates, I will see which of them are up. I can use HTTP probe, or I can use different tools to see which are up, which are giving 200. Okay, from that I will again run a sort and keep all those domains at one side. Okay, so after taking all those domains, what I can do is I can just run a DNS parser. Okay, any tool, a DNS parser, which will just request to that particular target, okay, and see what are the CNAME records over there. Okay, also what you can do is you can run a tool like web screenshot, okay, or Aquatone, okay, wherein it will just crawl that particular target, take a screenshot and save it into a directory. What you can do after some time, let's say after 1 hour, just go there, keep on checking all the screenshots, and you will come to know. Okay, there are many templates for you to identify. The templates are given online. I will when I will take this subdomain takeovers in the next live session, I will share those templates as well. So for AWS, the template is the bucket not found. For GitHub, the GitHub takeover, the template is this page does not exist here. Okay, for Azure it is a different template. Okay, for different types of other platforms, there are different types of templates. The templates are given in Nuclei, one of the very good tool which is given by Project Discovery. Okay, so you just go through the screenshots and you will be able to see, okay, this particular target is vulnerable because I see the bucket does not exist. Just you can directly go and take over. This is one of the best way which I use for doing subdomain takeovers on live websites and mass hunting on many domains. Okay, we have also found out many domains like many subdomain takeovers by this way, and actually mass subdomain takeovers you can do this way. Okay, so this was basically theoretically I was able to explain the approach to you. We will do this practically also in the upcoming live sessions. Okay, so when you are doing bug bounty, it is mandatory to use Kali Linux. Which OS do you recommend? Okay, so for doing bug bounty hunting, you can always use operating systems like Windows, Mac OS or Linux. There is no difference in any of the operating system. Okay, so this is one of the things which I see by many people, that if you are using Windows operating systems, then you are not doing it right. Okay, it is not like that. Windows subsystem for Linux, WSL, has actually improved the power of Windows, and now we can use Linux into Windows operating system as well. Now coming back to the specific question for Kali Linux, it is not specific that you should only use Kali Linux. Okay, so because Kali is developed on Debian based flavor. Okay, you can use any Debian based flavor that you like. I generally used a plain Debian, okay, because it is lightweight. I have you can just go on a free VPS server. You can spin up your Debian machine over there and install only specific tools that you like. Because I personally feel Kali Linux is overloaded with a lot of tools. Although it is the advantage of Kali Linux, it is preloaded, and that is also its disadvantage. Okay. You can go with any penetration testing operating systems. Also, I also have used Parrot OS. I like Parrot OS as well, compared to Kali Linux, because it is lightweight and does not take up a lot of system usage and system requirements. It does not take up a lot of CPU utilization as well. Although I love using plain Debian operating systems. How to create account on SendGrid? They are not allowing to create. Is SendGrid vulnerable? Okay, so specifically, I have not created account on SendGrid, but I have done the subdomain takers of SendGrid, wherein the SendGrid subdomain was pointing to AWS. So I was able to make a bucket on S3, and I was able to take over that particular subdomain, and I was able to claim that subdomain on AWS. Sir, do we have to register domain and show in POC for subdomain takeover? Yes. You have to take over that domain for demonstration purposes for POC. Although we submitted some of the reports on HackerOne and Buckcrowd, where we just gave them a report wherein we said potential subdomain takeovers, and they were like, please show us the impact by taking up those domains. Okay, so in case you also if show potential subdomain takeovers, they will reply you with, please take over those domains. So you need to take over that domain to show. Although there have been some chances where I have seen Netflix has reported researchers wherein researchers were only the researchers only did wrote a report which said potential subdomain takeovers. Okay, so this, if you're lucky, may work sometimes, but most of times you have to show a POC by taking over that particular subdomain. Okay, so one question by Jitesh. Sir, when we request again and again by some Nmap and other tools, sometimes we get blocked by web server. So is there any tip so we can do recon silently and locate? Okay, so there are many ways that you can do. Okay, because Nmap, if you use Nmap directly on the target and you start scanning all that particular ports, then there are chances that the firewall may block you. So Nmap gives a variety of tuning to your scans. Okay, wherein you can use different types of flags into your scan, different scan types. You can use a stealth scan if you do not want to ping that particular target. If the target has blocked a ping, you can use a ping probe scan. Okay, so let's say the server is running a firewall, and this firewall is blocking a specific type of request, which is, let's say, ICMP. Okay, and when you are performing an Nmap scan, Nmap by default runs a ICMP scan. Okay, so at that time you will get false positive results, and your results will say, okay, the target server is down. At that time, what you need to do is, you do not need to send a ICMP ping scan. That time you can scan using other attack types or other format. Okay, so basically you need to tune up your scans. Okay, for specifically for Nmap, as you have asked, I have shown that how can you bypass IDS and firewalls onto live websites. Okay, using Nmap in my course that I have launched on Udemy. You can get that course, in which I have also shown different type of scan types that you can use, also how you can use Nmap for your recon, and you can bypass firewalls. Okay, so the next question is, what are your thoughts on AI taking over cybersecurity? Asked by Harshit. So it's a very good question. Cybersecurity is very good. We all know that. Implementation of AI in cybersecurity is again more better. Why? Okay, because you have to look to both the perspectives. Okay, as from the company side as well as the attacker side. Okay, so they are implementing AI with cybersecurity. Okay, so they are going to block all the patterns. If someone is going to attack, they are going to block the pattern for doing a specific type of attack. Let's say anyone sends a specific type of payloads for SQL XSS, they are going to block it. Okay, but from the attacker perspective, we are also going to use AI. Okay, and we can craft new and new attack vectors, new and new FUD, fully undetectable type payloads. Okay, so although AI is going to help us secure more and more from these low level attacks and low hanging fruits, but it is also going to create a lot of more danger in terms of cybersecurity. There are both the perspectives for that. Okay, I have written an article on how AI is going to impact cybersecurity. I will share that article into the description, and you can read that article, how AI, ML and blockchain will implement cybersecurity in the future. Okay, so I think I have covered most of the questions. Okay, so there was a question for Prin Devil. Okay, the question he asked was for what are your thoughts for API pen testing and mobile pen testing? This is the last question, guys, we are taking. Then we are ending the live stream. So API and you API pen testing and mobile pen testing, you already have OWASP. The first thing is just learn about OWASP. OWASP for both of the mobile and API are given. Okay, so first thing is you should know clear about OWASP. The understanding should be clear. Second thing is setting up your lab. Okay, how can you set up your lab for API? Then you can use Postman. Okay, RESTful APIs. Okay, and second is for mobile, you should be able to set up your Genymotion, that is your emulator with your BobSuit. Okay, if you do not like using Genymotion, you can directly set up your phone with the BobSuit. Okay, although I will recommend set up Genymotion. Okay, so because there will be less number of requests going from your particular mobile phone to the BobSuit server. Okay, because in your mobile you will be install a lot of applications that will create more difficulty for you when you're intercepting the request. Okay, so after you have set it up your lab, the next thing is what types of attacks do you want to hunt and what attacks that you should look for. Okay, so I have found out some of the resources which are actually good that I have found out. You can just use these resources for API. The first resource that is very good is on the Bugcrowd blog, API security testing for hackers. Okay, a very good 20-minute video that you can see. Okay, for API attack vectors. Okay, second thing is how to hack your API, web API injection testing. Okay, this is again a very good resource which is given on techbeacon.com website. The best resource is OWASP API security project, where you can learn about API security. Each examples are given into this particular domain. There is also the PDF. You can go in the PDF and you can read about each attack type. Okay, although they have not shown the real world examples. Okay, and I have not able to find out real world examples onto the internet if there is any blog or some. Although if you are able to find it, please share it with everyone, or you can just post it to me also. I will add it into the description. Okay, apart from this, there are some cool blogs that I really liked when I was searching for API testing. Okay, so for SOAP and REST types of APIs, you can read these blogs which are written. Okay, I'll add these all the links into the description, wherein you can read about API testing. Okay, what are the tools, benefits, roles, responsibility. Apart from this, I really like this InfoSec Institute, a very good resource for reading about pen testing and cybersecurity, wherein you can read about this API testing. Next is for mobile testing, how to set up, how to find approach for bugs. First very good source is OWASP. OWASP mobile security checklist. Then Portswigger has a very good resource. Okay, apart from Portswigger, I love Bugcrowd mobile pen testing, setting up your pen testing, your Android device for pen testing part 1. There are part 1, part 2. You can read how you can set up your device and how you can start hunting. Again, InfoSec Institute has a very good article on pen testing mobile applications with the help of BobSuit. Okay, apart from this, if I come across any good resources, I will share that. Also, we are going to make course on mobile application as well very soon. Okay, for mobile application pen testing, where we are going to include all the bugs for mobile application. We will also show you, you can also practice on Diva. Okay, we will show you maximum number of live websites we can for your practical bug bounty approach hunting. So whenever you see those particular bugs on live websites, you actually understand better for your bug when you start your bug bounty hunting journey. We are also planning for a course on API, so that you may not miss API security bugs. Okay, and logic bugs. So I think we are done for the for this particular session. I really liked for all the people who joined this particular live session, and I hope you were able to get insights on cybersecurity, pen testing, little bit about bug bounties, and some of the tools that you can kickstart and start using. Guys, we can stay connected for the next session. Okay, we will be coming up with more powerful content for Recon that I surely think that will be useful for every one of you. We will be Android pen testing would be in the Udemy course, someone has asked. Yes, we will be releasing Android pen testing as well. It will take some time because we are on to Recon for now. After Recon, we have planned for Bug Bounty 2, as we have already launched our Bug Bounty 1 on Udemy. And we have got a very tremendous awesome response from everyone for Bug Bounty 1, and it has been bestseller in just under a month, and we actually like that people are loving us and our courses that we make. So we have started to work on Recon because that we got a lot of high request that before Bug Bounty 2, sir, please make a Recon course, because we have understood the Bug Bounty 1, but we are not able to take up the targets. We do not know how to take up the targets, so we are missing. We have understood the attacks, but we have not understood how to take up the targets, so we are not able to find good bugs. So we are starting with Recon. After Recon, we'll start up with Bug Bounty 2, and then we'll start up with Android and API. So cool. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for spending your important precious time connecting to this particular live chat. I am very grateful and thankful. So for every one of you who got connected, we will connect the next time also. We are a community and we will share our knowledge for becoming more and more better day by day in cybersecurity. Oh, thank you everyone. We have got one more question, digital forensics too. Yes, of course, we are also planning on cyber forensics also. We will be bringing more and more awesome courses for every one of you. So I'm ending this live stream, guys. Thank you so much for connecting again. Thank you so much. Stay safe, take care, and keep hacking.